Red light's on, bro.
Oh, I figured you had something ready.
No, I got nothing fancy right now.
You stopped and thought about it for a second before you hit the button.
Red light's on. UFC 235, right?
Yep. All right.
Okay, we'll do that. That's our opening.
Welcome to the Hook J Podcast.
Who the fuck is that guy? Who the fuck is that?
When it's all said and done, I know one thing that I can do. I can fight. I can give it, and I can take it.
You should have left me over on that other game that I'm from, that more ruthless game where we bounce heads off the canvas and drill them into the floor. You should have left me where I was.
The show starts now.
So, welcome back, guys. After a long breakaway, had a few fight nights happen in between the last pay-per-view event and the current one at 235. So we're going to jump into all that today.
So 235 was pretty interesting. We had the debut of Ben Askren, which was I think the most anticipated. I can't talk right now. Anticipated debut in a while. Scotch has got scotch. I love scotch. Down into my tummy.
Here it goes down into my belly.
So Ben Askren showed up. What'd you think?
Lean in wherever you talk because you create an echo.
So Ben Askren showed up. What'd you think of that fight?
Well, what was it, 2.5 minutes?
Something like that.
I liked it. I mean, Ben did what Ben's going to do. He out-wrestled him, and he got taken down. He got slammed hard by Robbie. Took all the ground and pound from Robbie, and still managed to bulldog choke him for a win. Now, it's controversial, and there's a lot of back and forth on it, but I do think Robbie Lawler was generally out for a few seconds. When his arm went that limp for that amount of time, and then when Herb went to check, I do agree that maybe Askren let up because he thought he was being told to stop, and that brought Robbie back. And I think Herb made a good call from a difficult position, and there's a lot of video coverage, and a lot of people are saying it was a bad call, but I don't know. From that position, it looked like Herb made a good call.
I think it was a decent call on Herb's part. I think from the angle he was at, it probably looked like Robbie was completely out, especially when his arm fell like that. From different angles, though, like from where the commentators were and things like that, you can definitely see him do the thumbs up.
Yeah, but that's only after Herb moved his arm.
Yeah, that was afterwards. That was basically after he called it off, right? Because he was in the process of him like waving it off.
Yeah. When
he did the thumbs up, so I understand the controversy there, but even then, I thought Herb was going to stop it after he slammed him.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be stopped by Robbie's ground and pound because he knocked the shit out of Askren a few times. Some of them haymakers were coming from like his foot all the way over. Like I'm talking like 180 degrees, man. These things were full powered. They were crazy. And Askren just kind of weathered the storm, man. He's got a chin made of granite, flipped over, pulled him in, and then, it went from there. But I saw an interesting video of one of the Gracies. He's kind of like breaking down what happened there. He agrees that it was a early stoppage, but he also said there was not going to be much longer before Robbie was out. And he did the whole explanation why. And I generally agree with it, man. I thought Robbie was going to be out anyways. It was just a matter of time. So there were a few other fights that we had talked about at one point amongst ourselves. Like, we're going to watch this one because we think it's going to be good. And I called it the Pedro Munoz and Cody Garbrandt fight. I knew it was going to happen. I knew Cody was going to go out. I thought it maybe like a second round because Cody is really emotional. And then Pedro went out there and did exactly what I thought he would do because Pedro put on some bangers recently, man. He went out there and slugfest and got some wins recently. And just looked all around great. And then when he went out there with Cody, I thought he was going to maybe whip out some other skills, but nope. They went into a slugfest again. Cody got knocked out again for a third straight time.
It's it's amazing that Cody still goes in there headstrong, especially after the first TJ fight. He figured he would learn his lesson, and he's very emotional when he fights. So I think that he says that's probably what it is. In an interview, like a post-fight interview, he said he got hit, he saw red, and kept charging in afterwards. So I see why, from his perspective, why he would want to do that. But then again, you're at a professional level where you can't afford to do that anymore.
Yeah, you actually need to stop and think about your choices because these are guys who are just as good, if not better, than you.
Yeah, and he's kind of a big guy for that weight class, but even then, he's still fighting people that have enough power to knock you out with a hit. It's not like a heavyweight hit where he can end it in a second, but the accuracy and the speed could definitely hurt you at any moment in time. And he's seen in the last 3 fights in a row that it's going to happen. Like, if you go out there wildly, just throwing, hoping you can hit somebody, you're probably going to get hit yourself. Even with the Dillashaw fight, he did manage to hurt Dillashaw once or twice in each fight, but Dillashaw managed to stop that pretty fast.
Yeah, the thing about the lighter weight class is like they may not just smack each other once and be done with it, but they take some hits along the way. And I think Cody's last performance against TJ and now this one, he really needs to take a step back and go in there with the game plan and stick to your game plan, man.
Well, here's the thing: is like a lot of people, Cody's a great boxer, right?
His hand speed's undeniable.
That's how he got to the show in the first place. That's how he got the title. But he's a good wrestler, right? The problem is he's just headstrong. When he gets tagged and he's a little hurt, he just grits his mouthpiece and charges in.
Yeah, bites down and pushes forward.
You can't do that, and it shows. When stuff like that happens, it shows. He can't do it anymore, and honestly, he needs to stay back a little bit and kind of go with a game plan. You would expect a guy, especially at Alpha Male, to wrestle more.
Yeah,
he's a decent wrestler. I don't see why he doesn't do that. But then again, why does Aaron Pico? Right? Why doesn't he do that?
Oh man, Aaron Pico's last fight. That was upsetting. God, that was so upsetting.
I think everybody was.
Even
like,
he was
what?
upset. He's like, man, I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
But he's 20 something. He's really young. So there's 2 other fights before the main 2 fights that I want to talk about. But Diego Sanchez versus Mickey Gall. Diego, for some reason right now, is winning against these young guys whenever you think he'd be out after taking 2 back-to-back knockouts.
Why?
And they were looked so brutal. And then he goes out there and wins his last fight. And then he goes out here and shows Mickey Gall what's up. And he's even got a bite mark to prove it.
I think what happened was because his last loss was to Matt Brown, right? Was the last time he got knocked out.
Yeah.
And then he fights. I can't remember the guy's name, but I think in between there, somebody talked to him. Maybe it was coaches. Somebody was like, "If you're going to continue doing this, you got to do it smart. You can't be the Diego Sanchez that fought Muniz a long time ago. You can't be the Ultimate Fighter season 1 winner like you were. You got to be smart, And I think he's finally realizing that, and he's relying a lot more on his wrestling. His past 2 fights, both fights, Mickey Gall and the guy before it, he wrestled the dude on the ground. And the funny part of both fights, he managed to stick his balls in the guy's face. Both fights.
to add insult to injury.
But I didn't think Diego in his last fight, and I thought Mickey Gall would be able to backpack him and maybe get a submission like that. But it just proves that if you have the talent, the wrestling ability to keep somebody on the ground, especially if you have a talent like Sanchez, you can't really stop him if he's on top.
Yeah, I mean, it's especially here lately, this past year and a half, we've really seen wrestlers come out on top in a lot of cases, and it's a skill that really needs to be worked on amongst a lot of people. Like if you're going to be a a sprawl and brawl guy, you need to make sure that wrestler don't get on top of you. It's the other way around. If you're going to be a wrestler, you got to do like Ben Askren. You got to take those shots, get in, put them down, and dominate them the entire time you're there. Hell, Stipe did it against Francis. That was a good one.
I mean, if you look,
that was one of the more dominant ones. Then we had a fight later on the card, Usman and Woodley. That was one of the best wrestling matches you'll ever see. Like, as if we're going to go with domination.
Well, like in the course of MMA, there's ebbs and flows to it. First it was jiu-jitsu, then it went to wrestling, then the strikers came in and proved that, and the Muay Thai fighters, and then now it's back to this wrestling.
Yeah, I mean, I think that first wave got kind of like, okay, guys, we know we need to have it. Now it's like, no, you really need to have this. Look what's working right now.
If you look at the UFC champions, you got Cormier, who's the heavyweight champ. He's a wrestler, right? You got Henry Cejudo. So you got
Olympic wrestler,
the heaviest weight and the lightest weight.
Yeah.
You got the bantamweight, which is TJ. He was a wrestler.
Yeah, he's got wrestling skill, yeah.
No, he was in college. He was a wrestler. Usman, he's a wrestler.
Oh, yeah.
Khabib, he's a wrestler. That's
Yep.
5.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure there's more I'm missing.
Yep.
Wrestling is dominating, even in Bellator. Bellator's a double champ right now. Ryan Bader, he's a wrestling champ.
I think the ground and pound is really making its dominance again, because there was a while that wrestlers were like,
I don't think it's the ground and pound. I think it's
the
being
fact
able
that you
to
can
control.
put somebody down there, and then when you're down there, you just lay into them because they can't get away from you.
It's just being able to control that.
I'm 200
position.
pounds, and if I can hold another person down that's 220 pounds and just make them feel like I'm 400, then I'm going to win that, because they're going to do everything they can for a brief amount of time and then be exhausted and have no answers. Hey, you know what? You got no answers, and I'm going to beat the hell out of you.
Yeah.
And it's just really showing that this is one of those skills you have to have.
I think we're going to continue. I think we're going to continue to see that the wrestling dominance for a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's going to be.
I don't think it's going away until maybe you find somebody. You'd have to find somebody with like a jiu-jitsu background that's really good and able to work off their back, like really well. Like if you had a Damian Maya, but like really young, a little bit of striking.
Maybe see how Crone will do against that really good wrestler.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
I mean, he's an up and comer right now.
Yeah,
Slightly older up and comer, but
it would be interesting to see how that works, because he's very much like his dad, Hickson.
Even Ortega against a really good wrestler.
Yeah, I mean we saw that with Frankie.
Well,
but
Frankie
that was
fight.
fairly quick.
Yeah, Frankie just got outstruck somehow, which was really rare.
Yeah,
really rare.
It's the rarest. It's the first time. But I mean, Ortega, I think he still has a shot. I don't know if as long as Max is there, it might be a little different.
Yeah,
but I think he has a shot still. He's pretty young.
Well, he would have a really good fight against Khabib.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Khabib's hands aren't all that great.
That or like someone like a Tony. That's always a possibility. That's always somebody that, like, with a wrestler, you 100% don't know how that's going to happen, even if you're on top of them laying down shots.
Yeah.
From the bottom, Ferguson's really sharp and is able to get out of there and do some weird shit to get out of there.
I mean, hell, even Pettis is really good on the ground, too, but he's just been, here lately, he just seems like he's made of glass.
See, Pettis is weird, because Pettis, they were like, when he first came in, he had the title and everything, they were like, oh my god, this guy's a striker. But the truth is, he's really good at the ground.
Yeah.
I guess he has this thing of like, oh, I'm a striker, I'm going to strike. But he's fairly decent on the ground, Anybody with those long legs like that is definitely bad news for somebody.
Then we had the other lightweight fight, which is really funny because it was the in celebration.
Oh, you're talking about the Johnny Walker fight?
The Johnny Walker Misha Serkinov fight ends very quickly, 37 seconds, with a flying knee from Johnny Walker, which put Serkinov on the ground, and then they just finished it out.
I thought, like, when I was watching it from the angle that I saw it from, it looked like he hit him with an uppercut. I didn't see the knee at first, right? Because it was really fast.
He did it really fast.
And then they showed the replay, and I was like, oh, okay, from a different angle, And he hits him really hard, really fast. It looked like he's trying to go in for like a single or, try to go in, like shoot him.
Yeah.
And he just didn't get it. and Johnny read it and just bam. Hit him
Yeah,
on
I
the
think
knee.
it was really good timing. I think Walker kind of tried to bait him in to a
looked like it.
takedown, and whenever he went for the takedown, he just blasted him in the face with a knee, and it's pretty much over after that. And then this jackass goes and celebrates and pops his arm, and he had an MRI. Now he's going to be out for 4 weeks.
That'll be fine.
Yeah, and he's over there laughing in the ring. I mean, he's a character. He's going to be fun to watch as he goes. I honestly think 3 or 4 more fights, maybe even 2 or 3, depending on how Dana's looking at, he'll be up there to fight John. And I think he's a really good challenge for John if Santos doesn't take John out.
Yeah, I think it would be an entertaining fight to watch. I'm not sure exactly how that would go down. I think John probably still has a lot of people's numbers, especially in light heavyweight division.
Oh, yeah.
But
oh, yeah.
this is the first time in, I don't know, 2, 3, maybe 4 years that the light heavyweight division is any good to watch.
Yeah, no shit, right?
That's interesting to say. Usually it's, you want to watch the heavyweights because it's big dudes, but they've been kind of boring for a while.
Yeah, it's been boring for a long time.
You wanted to watch, usually in the UFC you have to watch the smaller guys. The
My favorite
Dillashaw's,
classes are from like 150 to 180.
I would say from like bantamweight all the way up to like
Up to middleweight for me.
up to middleweight.
Bantamweight to middleweight. There's 3, 4 classes right there. So
Yeah.
those are my favorite ones to watch right now. They have the most exciting matchups. Holloway is just so fun to watch.
Well, yeah. Well, it's also the level of talent in the division and how like dense the divisions are. They always seem to be able to find somebody that's like, oh, you need to fight at 155 for card 2 months from now? We can find somebody to do that. Whereas like heavyweight, they're like, we need 3 heavyweights for like June. And all right, it's gonna take like 4 or 5 months to make some calls and move people around. Can you make that weight? Like it's one of those. It's rough though.
What do you call those guys nowadays with like man buns and all that shit? What the fuck's the name for those?
Cucks?
No, yeah, well, that too. What the fuck is the name of that? Everybody dogs them. It's not millennials. What the fuck is that name everybody gave them? Hipsters. There we go. Okay. Couldn't think of the fucking name.
Okay.
So the other fight to round out the main card was Abraham Lincoln versus a hipster. So
I don't like that one.
look at him.
I can see the Abraham Lincoln one. They didn't really have the hipster there.
Fake ass beard with the hair parted to the side, one way.
We didn't have that during the fight.
Yeah, well, yeah, he did.
No.
Yeah, he did.
I don't.
That's his look, bro.
Whatever.
All right, so the fight to round out the main card was Jeremy Little Heathen Stevens versus Abraham Lincoln, or any Amish guy.
Zabit.
Yeah, Zabit.
I'm not gonna say his last name.
Magomed Sharipov.
If I just say Zabit, everybody knows because he's the only Zabit in the fucking world.
There's got to be others out there.
There's 2 others. The other one's dead.
Okay. So the fight to round out the main card was Jeremy Stevens versus Magomed Sharipov, and that was a fun fight to watch actually because I was expecting Stevens just to land some killer shots on Zabit, but Zabit's footwork really just kept him out of range and kept Stevens from planning and really landing anything hard. So
He got a couple good shots on him, but nothing to
he
really...
had a few that were just straight down the pipe and rocked his head all the way back, but Zabit he's either made out of iron or granite one because it didn't really phase him.
What I did notice is, Stevens, he's a smaller, stockier dude. Zabit's a tall, lanky guy, and Zabit, he's always liked to do this trip thing. Well,
The hip trip?
well, yeah, it's more of a
sweep.
like an ankle, like a sweep, and he normally catches people with it. But Stevens, he's been around the block a couple times. He kind of knows, right? So he's given a little bit of a blueprint on Zabit, how to watch for that trip, and how to stuff those takedowns because he only landed 3 out of 8.
Yeah. That's true.
And normally, in the last couple of Zabit fights, he uses his range, gets close to you. As soon as Zabit gets you on the floor, then that's where he's at. But he wasn't able to do that for most of the fight, which kind of gives you this like, okay, I kind of see how this is going to work out now. So I imagine in the future, there's probably going to be one or two guys that watch that and go, if I'm able to push the pace and keep Zabit at range, then maybe I have a better shot. Maybe stuff a takedown or two, have a better shot. So I imagine that's probably what's going to happen in the future. And this is was it 3 rounds?
Yeah,
3 rounds?
that was a 3-round fight.
And he was kind of tiring out towards the end. So
I think just due to the fact that Jeremy Stephens was just constantly making him move and use his feet.
even then, that's better for whoever might face him in the future to be like, hey, if you can put pressure on him, keep him at a distance, keep him working, then maybe you can tire him out enough to where you can dominate him either on the feet or on the ground, as long as you're on top,
Yeah, it'd be an interesting fight to watch him versus somebody like Holloway, because Holloway's coming up for the interim belt in that division.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Because I think Holloway would keep him at range and piece him up the whole time. Although I think Holloway might have a little bit of problem with the how dynamic Zabit is. Because Zabit doesn't stick to like kicks or punches. He's throwing everything.
I think he would have a problem with the wrestling with him, the pressure he puts on top.
Yeah.
But I'm not 100% sure he can take him down and keep him there. Like, I think he could keep him there, but I don't think he would be able to like take him down and hold him down for a long time.
Right.
Just like small sprints, but I think Holloway would be able to pop right back up.
Yeah, I mean, Ortega couldn't keep him down either. And Ortega's really good on the ground. So that should be a...
Oh, well, Holloway didn't let it go to the ground at all.
Well, no, they got to the ground.
I remember that.
Ortega put him on the ground. And then he got back up, though.
Yeah, but like he didn't really stay
Yeah,
there.
exactly. That's what I'm saying. I don't know how good Zabit is to be able... If he could put Holloway on the ground...
Well, if Jeremy Stephens can get up off the ground, I'm sure Holloway could.
That's an interesting point.
So let's get to the title fights.
So we had two completely different title fights. Completely different. One title fight is a complete dominance, like just physical dominance over the opponent, and the other one was a complete just shutdown of the opponent.
Yeah.
So Kamaru Usman versus Tyron Woodley. I really wanted Tyron to win this one just to rub it in Dana's face, because Dana doesn't really like Tyron that much, especially as a champion. But I couldn't really count Usman out, because Usman is a very dominant factor. And his physical presence, he was taller than Woodley, he's linker than Woodley. He's wider in the shoulders. He would be a lot harder for him to hold anyways. And Kamaru came out there and for 5 rounds, put the champ against the fence and on the ground and was just smothering him physically. And almost every shot he landed was from the clinch and being on top. But, they did have some moments up top when they were standing, but not many. And, yeah, the strike count alone was just crazy, 60 to 336. That should give you a really good definition of what happened. Kamaru just got on top and beat the hell out of him. And, man, I swear to God, Tyron Woodley's probably today still hurt like hell, because Kamaru was hitting pretty hard. And he has that short, quick jab, or the, I don't even know what the hell to call that right now. A little short, quick.
Uppercut?
Well, not from that position.
They just
when he was just striking him in the ribs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, whenever he was just hitting him in the ribs, some of them were hitting pretty damn hard, and the crowd's all quiet and booing because they don't want to see somebody get wrestle fucked for 25 minutes. But you could hear them strikes, and they were hard. And Tyron was filming. At one point, the only part that I had a problem with was that Mark Goddard stood him up or broke him up so many times. I'm like, come on, man. You got to let the wrestler wrestle if he's wrestling. I get it if Kamaru just laid on top of him and did absolutely nothing, but he was
working.
Yeah, he was working. He was striking. He didn't try to pass. I think that was the problem. He didn't pass. He was just
Well, he was still working, though. That was the problem I had. Like, even though he wasn't passing, he was still working, because it may not seem like, okay, he's trying to get a better position. Sometimes you're just trying to hold somebody down, and that's hard to do, is to hold somebody, especially somebody like Woodley.
Yeah.
That's hard to hold
Woodley,
him down.
who's got a black belt. Woodley, who is a wrestler. Woodley, who can make Damian Maia get off of him. I mean, it's not an easy job to put Woodley down, and he did it for 25 minutes. That's just a complete dominance. I mean, that's just a complete dominance from your opponent. So, props to Kamaru, the Nigerian Nightmare, for that one, man.
Yeah, I thought it was a great show of exactly what Usman could do. I think if you're going to win a title, you do it in two fashions. You either do what Usman did, where you go out there and you show that, yeah, this guy, I can dominate him regardless of where we're at, or you go out there and you do like a Conor where you just lay him flat, a Cormier where you just knock him out from just this weird position. Yep. And if you're gonna get a title, that's probably the best two ways you can possibly do it.
Yep.
The other fight, the main event, which I agreed with and didn't agree with putting it on, but it is what it is. John Jones versus Anthony Smith. What did you think about this fight?
I thought I never really agree with Jones. I agree that he is probably the best to ever fight. He is very creative, and he comes up with very interesting combinations. Regardless of the illegal knee and all that, I think he just completely shut down Anthony Smith's offense. So Anthony, as soon as they came out there, the first round, they kind of both of them kind of stayed back trying to feel out the other person. And every time Anthony would try to throw anything or get offensive, John Jones just had the answer defensively, got out of the way, or beat him to the punch, literally. Beat him to the punch so that Anthony had to go on the defensive. So he kept him circling away and moving away from it and being highly defensive. So John Jones did a really good job of, as Anthony Smith said himself, of just nullifying his offense. So
I think it's interesting, John Jones' entire career, and I think this might put a bookmark in it for most people. In my opinion, John Jones, you can argue he's one of the best to ever step in the cage. I'll give you that. But this kind of shows exactly the level of talent they've always put him in there against, with the exception of a couple of people. He's always on this level where he makes people that either are, specifically when he was making his run to the title, past their prime, like when he fought Shogun, when he fought Machida. I can't even name them all. He's fought so many of them. All the way up to like Gustafsson, and they didn't fight Rumble, but there's only been a few people that they've put him up against that you're like, oh, okay, they got a chance. Usually it's people that he fights is like Anthony Smith, where you go, yeah, he's got a chance, he's got the puncher's chance, but let's be honest, there's no way it's going to happen unless he connects somewhere in there. And I think this shows a lot of people the padded record, if you really look at it, I think. I always thought Jones had, even though he's so good and talented, I always thought he had this level of talent that was nowhere close to the people that he fought, with the exception of a couple. And this kind of shows it for me. Because he dominated Anthony Smith for 5 rounds.
Yeah, I mean,
so badly.
Smith never really had a chance.
So badly that the round where he legally kneed the guy, right? They took 2 points away, and it still tied the fucking round.
Yeah.
If you take 2 points away, right, that automatically puts you at a 28 if you manage to make it a 10-28 round.
Yeah, it puts you at 48. Yeah.
So that's ridiculous that you were able to do that. And it shows the level of talent that they're putting in there just so you can keep that name, that belt, so you can pad it a little bit. I understand why they do it.
I don't necessarily agree that it's 100% padded because...
Don't get me wrong, there's a couple people in there
there's
that you could argue.
There. We got TRT Belfort and DC. You can't argue the DC factor. But there's plenty of people in there whose name did help propel Jones, especially at the time. So if we're going back 4 or 5 years,
yeah,
we're talking some huge names that really carried the sport, especially in the division. But you can't deny that their talent level, is also what makes Jones larger than life to some people. Because if for some reason that him and McGregor were on the same weight class, okay, let's say it's either light heavyweight or whatever the hell he's in now, lightweight.
Yeah.
if they were fighting at that weight class and Jones goes out there and starches McGregor,
Well,
it'd be the same thing because you're like, oh, well, McGregor never could challenge him on the ground. You could make that argument.
What I'm saying is, when John got in the UFC, right, his talent level was such above everybody else.
That I will agree
right?
with. Yeah.
That when they threw these people at him, right, there was no competition there.
What if it's like this? What if Jones is the more complete and rounded MMA fighter, and they were throwing him single discipline fighters? That's what it is.
Sometimes it seemed like that when you got to like the Machida fights,
because there's no denying Jones is creative as shit. Yeah. Like the elbow strike or the shoulder strikes that he does. Like nobody does that.
Like when you got to the Machida fights, like when he fought Machida,
right?
Machida was a striker, right? That's mainly what he was known for. He knocked out Belfort before that, and I think he beat Rashad or whoever Machida won the belt from, right, or the interim title, whatever it was. That's a one-dimensional fighter. Jones used to be a wrestler, right? There's your game plan. Wrestle the striker. Mm-hmm. Done. He fights Rashad next, right? He's a wrestler. But your level of skill of wrestling is so fucking great. You're so much bigger than Rashad. You have a little bit of a backstory. You used to train with him. You know his ins and outs. You know what he's good at, what he's not good at, right? You know you're a better wrestler than him. Why not wrestle him for 5 rounds, tire him out, and then you have the game plan there. What it seems like to me, from when I looked at Jones' records last, there's a couple that are in there, right? The big names that were built off him. You're like, okay, there's obviously his talent was greater than theirs. It shows, and it seems like they just fed him the talent to make his name bigger.
I mean, there's no denying. Whenever you have a young rising star, you want to give them names, build their popularity, get people to buy their pay-per-views. I mean, look what they did to Conor.
Yeah. That's what it seems like to me. I'll probably do a video about it later, just go in a little bit more detail of what my theory is, but that's what it seems like last time I looked at it.
I mean, what do you make of that illegal knee?
It's illegal.
I know. Okay, but here's my thing. Do you think Jones did it on purpose, or there was some reason he may have missed? Because I didn't understand the rules either. I was like, wait a minute. I thought they were going by the new rules. Like, no, apparently Nevada's only adopted part of the rules. Mm-hmm. And then Herb rolls the replay, and it should have stopped. Oh wait, no, they didn't. They didn't do that. I was like, okay, wait a minute. What the hell's going on right now?
I always thought Nevada the whole MMA commission, all the sports commissions should get on one rule set.
Yeah.
First of all, to make this shit easy. If you were watching an NFL game and they were like, oh, we're going by AFL or AFC, whatever it was it?
Yeah,
AFC. America AFL?
Something like that. AFC.
Whatever the AFC. Old football leagues were.
Yeah, just say AFC and NFC because they're divisions.
We're only going to do through these rules. It's kind of like the World Series. Like when they go through that,
baseball does that.
Where they're like, "Oh, you're playing over here. You have to do these rules."
Yeah, so the pitcher has to play. He has to.
It makes no sense. But with fighting, it all should be like universal standard for it.
Exactly.
If you're boxing, you're gonna go under the Queensberry rules normally, right?
Yep.
You're not gonna go if you're like, oh, we're in the middle of like the Philippines, we're going through Muay Thai blood sport rules.
Well,
you're not doing that.
In Nevada, we allow you to plaster your gloves.
Yeah.
So,
but it doesn't make sense to me why they don't adopt it. I think Jones he didn't mean to do it intentionally. I don't think he meant to I'm going to soccer kick him in the face.
Well, I don't think he did either because the second Anthony goes to get up and you see him hoist up, you can see Jones realize that, hey, here's an opportunity for a knee because of this positioning. I think that's a genuine mistake. Now, I'm hoping it was a genuine mistake given the moment just because, god damn, Bones, you have so much controversy, dude. Fuck, man.
Okay,
it's hard to be a John Jones fan whenever every other pay-per-view gets moved, canceled. You don't make weight. You don't make the regulations from USADA. You just come on, bro.
Which he popped for before this fight.
Yeah. I'm hoping Santos knocks the picograms out of him.
That'd be great. That's a good tagline for Santos. We should tweet that later.
Yeah.
But all right, so after he gets hit in the head, I always thought it shouldn't be up to the fighter to stop the fight.
Right.
I think it should be for the corner.
Yeah.
Or for the ref.
Well, I don't think it should be the corner because the corner is always going to be like, yeah, he's not feeling good because they want their guy to get the W.
I get that part, but I think it should be like a combination of the two, maybe something like that. Yeah, I don't think it should be up to the fighter. The fact is, it was an illegal kick, right? The damage is already done. You can't take that damage. You can't unring that bell.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
So you could argue, if you wanted to, from that point forward, the fighter's compromised, right?
Yeah, it's like an
in
eye poke
some way.
or, a ball tag.
Something like that. Matt Mitrione.
Jesus.
But it gets rough from that point forward because you're like, all right, something happened, right? Illegal knee, illegal strike, ball tap, something. You got to give him a certain amount of time, but that's still there. So it's this weird gray area.
Yeah.
I think I think mostly it should probably go to the corner now. I'm thinking about it, just because they've got, even though their opinion's biased, they know their fighter, right?
Yeah.
They know what he can take, what he can't take, if he can push through it, whatever. And plus, it's from an opinion outside of the cage, from a different angle. Maybe they're thinking a little differently. They're already, like, when they go to fight, it's you plus your corner, right? A lot of people, it's 1 versus 1, which for the most part it is.
Right.
But it's also your corner's there. And
Right,
the
right.
corner's there to protect you and to tell you, like, give you a different angle on things. Like, oh, maybe you should throw this and that. Maybe they should be able to go, yeah, he can't continue or he can't continue or whatever.
I think it should be a three factor, a count of 3. So what does the fighter say? What does the corner say? What does the doctor agree with? Because the fighter's going to tell you one thing, and the corner's going to tell you something. So in this case, let's say Anthony Smith was like, "No, we're good. I mean, just give me a second. I'll be fine." He got up and he's like, "No, I'm good. If that was his corner, I guarantee you his corner would have been like, "No, he can't. He's not seeing straight." And the doctor goes over there and checks and does everything, and does his exam. And he's like, "No, I think he's okay." 2 people are now saying it. 1 person isn't. So let's go by that. 2 out of 3. It should be easy.
Yeah, like that. See, that would probably be a good one to have that too. Right. I don't see why not. But even then,
I think the doctor just needs to get involved.
It's hard. It's hard to come. Well, with a concussion, it's not an immediate thing,
True, but in the moment, when somebody's eyes are dilated and they're not all together when they're saying they are.
Sometimes, man.
What if you're shooting for the single leg, right?
Yeah. It's just a weird thing, man. I don't know.
I'll give Anthony Smith so much credit for that fight, though, man. In the fight, he didn't land that much, but he was trying. You could see him, like, every time he go to push forward, Johns would make him switch stances by, hitting his leg, or, he'd paw at him so he couldn't make that, he couldn't throw that right hand, he couldn't throw the left hand, or he couldn't get close to do a clinch. He really got shut down, but Anthony took it all on the chin. He's like, I got nullified. Yeah, it was an illegal hit, but whatever. I'm still going to try to fight this guy because I'm not getting a DQ. Well, okay, so personally, being the petty guy that I am, I would have been like, oh, God, oh, my head, I can't. I'm taking the W, he's taking the L. To give John Jones the L.
If I get kicked in the face by John and it was illegal, I would drop so fast. It would look like Ric Flair's in the ring where he just drops on his face.
Yeah.
And I would just totally play the shit out of that, right? Just for the win, right? Because even then, from that point forward, you have that champion in your name, right?
And never give him a rematch just because he's an illegal cheating prick.
I don't know about it. Like
picograms.
The next fight, like I would even then if they were like, Jacob, you got to fight John at the rematch because blah blah blah. Like, okay, cool, we're doing it on my terms, right? That's how you do it. Do it on my terms. You got to test, negative, completely negative, not point whatever.
Yep.
And you go forward from there. And once you can prove that, then I would do it.
Like, well, you can't pass a drug test, so I can't fight somebody who's not clean. I'm clean, 100% clean, never taken a drug in my life.
That's not true.
I mean, just saying. If you're sitting there in front of them, like, I've never taken a steroid or Turinabol or Anabol or whatever the fuck they want to do next. Next they're going to be dropping drops in their eyes. Anthony Smith did put on a performance, though, man. I mean, I love his heart, Lionheart for a reason, man. He stuck it out. He fought Jones. Yeah, he missed the shot at the goal, but if he plans on sticking around, I'm definitely going to watch this guy.
So here's the question. John is one of the greatest people to ever step in that cage, right? When he's in the cage, he seems unstoppable, unbeatable, whatever you want to say.
Except for that Gustafson fight, that first one.
But what does it seem like when a guy like Anthony Smith, who started out as a middleweight, right, moves up to light heavyweight, and John goes a decision with him? Right?
I think it looks like John Jones without controversy, without Turinabol, without Coke, without anything in the system, is exactly what Anthony Smith said. He's beatable.
I think
Anthony Smith went 25 minutes with you, took an illegal shot, still got up, and managed to finish out the rounds with you. You could not put him away. Yeah, he's tough. He's probably tougher than some of the other guys you fought. But that just shows that John Jones, completely on the level, minus whatever picograms are bullshitting me with this time, is completely beatable. And I think within his next 3 fights, somebody's going to stop him.
I
don't think he'll ever tap. I think he's too prideful to do that. But I think he's somebody. Man, I hope Santos just fucking knocks his head off.
I think we're maybe not seeing the decline of John, right?
No, I think we're seeing the peak, though.
I don't think we're ever going to see like a deep drop off of John. I don't think it's going to be like a Cody Garbrandt situation where it's like he's champ, fucking loser, right?
Yeah, I think it goes 3 in a row.
I think right now we're seeing the plateau.
I really think so too. I think that's why I think he knows it. I think he knows that the light heavyweight division is not stagnating, but is starting to get a lot of new talent that could threaten him. And I think that's why he wants to make a heavyweight push, and to piss off DC. But
I don't think he'll go to heavyweight.
I mean, if the money's there to fight some
I don't
of those
think
big
he'll
dudes,
do it.
You don't think so?
I don't think he'll do it.
You think he's gonna pull a Mighty Mouse, stay in his division?
I don't think John, knowing that his entire name is built off that record, right, is going to risk that until he loses. So up until the point where John legitimately loses, where they go, he lost and knew, I don't think he's going to risk that.
I mean, it'd be a good time to go for it.
It would be, but I don't think he's going to do that.
Yeah.
I think he's one of the guys that's like, I'm going to stay in this thing until I'm officially done with it, then I'll think about moving.
I mean, he's only 31.
Yeah, he can still do it.
He's still got years
yeah.
left. I mean, if he fights 3-4 times a year, 2 times a year, he's still got...
I mean,
let's just say he wins them all. That's at least 6 more title defenses. That's at least 6 more fights we get to see. That means he's going to be the greatest of all time if he wins all of those. Man, I hope the picograms get knocked out of him.
I mean, even Belfort's still fighting. And by the way, he's back on TRT.
Yeah, boy.
He said he was.
Yeah, I know.
He's going to one, and he was like, yeah, I'm going to hop back on this thing. And they were like, okay, like, let's do it.
Well, TRT Belfort is a fucking machine.
It's going to be interesting. But, yeah, it was an interesting fight. He dominated the whole thing. Going forward, I think they'll probably give Thor guy his shot after this.
Thiago Santos.
Yeah.
I think he's next. I think they've already started talking about it. It's either him.
It's him.
Yeah, it's got to be him because he's putting on a show right now at light heavyweight.
Yeah, well, he fights like every month, it seems.
Yeah, I know, right? Every time they need somebody that got pulled out. Hey, you know what? Santos wants to fight. Let's throw him in there.
Yeah, he only fucking fought for like 30 seconds the last one.
Well, but he went to a good 2-3 rounds with Manoa before he put
still got
Manoa
him
down. I love that fight too, dude.
That was a rough one.
God, those guys are just slinging nukes at each other, man. You're just waiting for one of them to connect. Honestly, I think Thiago Santos is the wild card in this division right now.
Yeah, I think he's definitely the one to look out for.
I mean, him and Walker, if Walker keeps this performance up that he's doing. Johnny Walker.
Yeah. I think Johnny's probably got 1 or 2 more fights before they're like, yeah, we'll put it. So what they'll probably do, right, is they'll put, because Walker's last fight was pretty short.
Yeah.
They'll probably put Walker in there to fight in between the pay-per-views, right?
Yeah.
So they'll do like a Walker fight, and they'll announce the Thiago one, right? Put him on the undercard. So they'll put the Walker fight on the undercard. They'll have John versus whoever. And then if Walker wins that one, like wins the next two, then they'll announce Walker versus John for later in the year.
I think so too, but you gotta look at who's above Walker because he just beat Misha and he was at 13. So maybe Johnny moves up to like 10 now. I don't know how that works, but
They don't pay attention to it. This
yeah.
time.
Who else is in that division right now?
Nobody really.
I mean, above him, I can't name anybody above him
The
besides Gustafson.
the light heavyweight division. I mean, you got Gustafson with Glover, right? You have him fight Glover.
Like Shogun.
Yeah, like he did Shogun. You know,
God, man, he'd kill him.
like
I mean, he can
everybody in the division that's above them are all legends. You know, of Anthony Smith. You can probably put him against Anthony Smith.
Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting fight. God, I can't wait to see what happens next with these two guys. I really want to see Santos
Yeah,
fight Jones because I think Santos offers a level of power and a punch that Jones has never had to deal with. Because man, Santos looks like he has just got like 10-pound fist, man. When when he touches somebody, they're done.
he's just putting the speed and the accuracy together lately. I don't know what it is. He just has this run of a couple people. He's just like, it's go time. It's go time. in that
Yeah,
ring.
and he's not. I mean, he's been put down himself. I mean, I've watched him get put down, but even those fights, man, he was just. His shots are right on the chin or right
Kevin
behind
Holland?
the ear.
Didn't Kevin Holland do it?
I don't know if it was Kevin Holland.
I think it was Kevin Holland.
No, it wasn't Holland.
That was Kevin Holland.
Just pull up Thiago Santos. Thiago. IAGO. There you go. It's fucking first one. There's not too many Thiagos in the world that are famous, huh? Because he fought at. What was the weight class below them? Middleweight?
I think
He
so.
fought at middleweight and moved up. He had a fucking war with somebody. His Branch.
No, see, he beat Kevin Holland. David Branch.
Yeah, it was David Branch.
That's close.
Yeah.
He fought Musasi.
Yeah. That's at the different weight class. Because these were all whenever they were at a lower weight class.
He beat Anthony Smith, too.
Yeah, at a lower weight class. I don't think it'd be any different higher, but. Yeah, he had a hell of a fight against Eric Anders, Jimmy Manoa, and he just beat the shit out of Jan Blachowicz. Fucking fast.
Yeah, I mean, like, what else?
Well, I say fast, but it was in the beginning of the third round.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's a lot of shit going on. But that will wrap up this one.
Light heavyweight division is exciting again.
We could take off our, was it MLHAG hats?
Yeah. Make light heavyweight
great again. MLH.
Oh, did you see that? Colby and Usman started to get into it.
Yeah, we'll talk about that here in a minute. That was a blatant lie. We're actually ending this one right now. I'm at Hooked JP on Twitter. My co-host is at Hooked Justin. Like, share, and subscribe if you want to. Thank you guys.
Thank you for listening to the Hook J Podcast. Hope you enjoyed today's show. See you next episode.
Sometimes you've got to do what's right for you and not do what's right for everybody else.